Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. And today, if you don't mind, I would like to share with you some thoughts and comments that I have with regard to the recent announcement made by the Criterion Collection, in fact, a few hours ago, with regard to those planned releases for June 2021. You can check out the actual titles themselves and the descriptions and the artwork for the covers, etc. at the Criterion Collection website directly. And I strongly encourage you to check it out if you haven't already. These are fascinating titles that are announced for June 2021. These are going to be my initial reactions, and so they could, of course, change over time. They could, of course, change if and when the title indeed arrives in the mail later in the year, of course. But for right now, these are, as I say, my initial thoughts and impressions. So let's just go through them in order as they appear on the website. So first up is scheduled for release June 8th, 2021. And this is spy number 480. This is the work or cycle of works by Masaki Kobayashi, known as, in English, The Human Condition. These are works from Japanese cinema. And again, in case you were interested, this actually already exists in the Criterion Collection in this DVD set. This is a Zone 1 DVD set, and it is in this digipack format. And so what we are going to get, I'm assuming, is a Blu-ray version of this particular set. And it looks like, for all intents and purposes, the Blu-ray will be more or less the same or similar to this presentation design, the supplements, etc., for purposes of that Blu-ray. But it's going to be a Blu-ray release, I understand. I don't know if it's going to be a digipack or not. We shall see if that, of course. That's part of the fun of these Criterion releases, as well as other releases, as we know. But hopefully it will mean the opportunity for these films to be explored and discovered and engaged with by as many people as possible once the Blu-ray version arrives. Now, these films are very dense, they are very complex, they paint a landscape, I would suggest, of real vivid and stark moral ambiguity that is also set against the backdrops of various factors, first of which being the emotional or human factor that is at the heart, the emotional and intimate nature of these particular characters that we are following, on the one hand, and at the same time, the grand sweep of history and how it affects these particular participants in this story, and indeed in the history, both in the context of Japan and also on the global stage, but also, again, in this intimate, powerful nature. It is very forceful. It is very difficult, I think, in a great way. And I think it deserves a lot of attention and care and engagement, as much as it can get, because they are indeed quite powerful. And I think they serve, I think, a very insightful or potentially insightful and very emotional engagement with these particular moral complexities that arise with regard to Japan and the war. So this is The Human Condition. I am so thrilled that this DVD set, which I really adore and admire, I'm so thrilled that it's getting this attention in terms of this new Blu-ray release scheduled later this year. So hopefully for anyone who's interested in engaging with these works, that will afford a wonderful opportunity. So this is going to be for June 8th. This is The Human Condition. Again, already existing in this DVD set at spy number 480. Next, scheduled for release on June 15th, 2021, we have Streetwise and Tiny, The Life of Erin Blackwell. Streetwise is described as being from 1984, and Tiny, The Life of Erin Blackwell, described as being from 2016. And if I could be even more specific, Streetwise will, according to the website, get its own spy number at 1079, and Tiny, The Life of Erin Blackwell, will also get its own spy number this one being 1080. So Martin Bell and Mary Ellen Mark, and this series of films will be made available. I have seen Streetwise. I have not seen Tiny, The Life of Erin Blackwell. And I know very little, actually. I don't know much at all, actually, about Tiny, The Life of Erin Blackwell. And so I am so overjoyed by this. Now, I can share with you my general thoughts about Streetwise right now, which is that it is a very raw and powerful and potent and quite honest depiction of these particular groups of people, this group of people, and these youths and their lives and what it is they're having to deal with and go through in terms of the externalities and also the internal emotional nature of their particular situations and their lives. This is a very powerful depiction from the 1980s, and so it left quite an indelible mark upon me. So much so that now I understand that this companion work, Tiny, The Life of Erin Blackwell, was made rather recently in 2016. So I have not seen this. So I don't know how it figures in and fits into the landscape that was presented and shown in Streetwise. I have a general sense, but I can't speak to it right now because I don't know. And this is something that makes me very much anticipating this particular release. I am so much looking forward to this. In fact, it makes me very excited, and it reminds me of the types of feelings and concerns and engagement that I had when I saw Streetwise some time back. So now I recall that with much anticipation for this particular release, and so I'm looking forward to this very much. And as I indicated, it seems to be such that these two films are to be given their own separate treatment, as it were, in terms of the spine number categorization, which is very good, and also the special edition features seem to indicate a number of new features, including commentary on Streetwise, featuring bells, so that should be very engaging indeed, and also 4 short films, as well as other matters and other supplements. So this looks to be something that, well, let me put it this way. I am looking forward to this very, very much. My levels of anticipation and curiosity are quite high indeed. So, well done, Criterion. So this is going to be scheduled for June 15th, Streetwise and Tiny, The Life of Erin Blackwell. Next, scheduled for release June 22nd, 2021, The Signifyin Works of Marlon Riggs. This is a collection of works which has, according to the Criterion website, ethnic notions, tongues untied, affirmations, anthem, color adjustment, no je ne regrette rien, or no regret. Black is, black ain't. And this is, according to the website, going to be given as a collection as a whole, spine number 1082, and also a number of fascinating supplements that seem to be included along the way. Please check out the website if you can. Marlon Riggs and this particular set, my goodness, I am so amazed by this. I haven't seen all of these works. I saw many, many years ago, on VHS, in fact, if I recall correctly, I saw the film Tongues Untied, and it was an extraordinary work, and it made quite an impact because of its approach and its style and the way it blended a lot of different modes of communication, a lot of different forms of art, from the performative to the type of a direct almost presentation style, as well as many other modes and tones, to present this very, I think, pointed and a poetic way to tell or convey a certain type of pointed message or story, as it were. And it is very much tied to the times, and it is very much part of that particular moment, and also who Marlon Riggs as an artist, as a human being, who he is. And so I found that work to be, as I say, quite extraordinary, but I have not seen it in the longest time. And so I will have to regather my thoughts as best I can upon watching that work and the rest of the works in this remarkable collection. And perhaps that means even for the film Tongues Untied, I will have to recalibrate and reset my own frame of reference. And so I will look at it afresh, as it were, which is a wonderful thing. So I am so grateful for the Criterion collection for this particular thing. I haven't thought about this film in such a long time, but now with this announcement, all these memories and feelings of that particular film and watching that film when I did at a relatively young age are now flooding back into my mind. And so it's rather difficult for me, I admit, to be perfectly honest, to try to assemble some kind of semblance of a general comment in terms of that particular film, because it is quite it is quite an astounding work indeed. But it really, I think, has a powerful artistic, personal touch to it, and is, as I say, speaking towards things that are maybe political, or maybe things that are very much current of the social climate, shall we say, of the times, but also maybe it could be said to be of the times now. And those and other things are what I will try to reevaluate and recall and remember when I visit Tongues Untied and other works included in this set. So I am also incredibly excited for this, and it'll be a real, well, hopefully it'll be a great, well, not hopefully, I know it'll be a splendid exploration. And the fact that this is included in the set, it takes me by surprise in this wonderful way. So this is going to be something else. I'm looking forward to this immensely. And so this is going to be scheduled for release, once again, June 22nd. And it's going to be given, there are a number of films in the set, but it's going to be given one spine number, it appears, that of 1082. And as well, the supplements, you can take a look you can take a look at their website directly. But this looks stunning, absolutely stunning. So once again, the Signifyin works of Marlon Riggs. Next, scheduled for release June 22nd. This is the film, and it's given the spine number 1081. This is described as being from 1973, and it is the work called Visions of Eight. And it is from a number of filmmakers who have come together and have provided their own perspectives or portraits, if you will, of certain aspects of the Olympic Games of Munich in 1972. And so this is, another way to describe it, an Olympics film, or it is a film that is focusing in on a particular Olympic Games, the 1972 Olympic Games. And so we have this individual release of this very poetic and extraordinary work. And some might say a timely release from Criterion, given the current, as of now anyway, schedule regarding the Summer Olympic Games. Although, as we know, the world health crisis has affected many things since way back in 2020. And so we have to wait and see if those effects will carry further with regard to the current Olympic Games. But regardless, this is, I think, maybe in some way a type of release that is maybe in line with or somehow consistent with the spirit of the Olympics that is, as I say, part of the current climate of 2020 and now 2021. Visions of Eight I should point out, was also made available through another Criterion release, physical media one, which is this. This is the outer casing of what is known as 100 Years of Olympic Films, 1912 to 2012. And for those of you who know the set, you know that this was a collection of many Olympic films, or many films that were focusing in on particular Olympic games throughout history. One of such films is, in fact, Visions of 8. And so Visions of 8 is actually right here in this particular envelope. And this is envelope number 18. And so we're getting, therefore, with this particular announcement, we're getting the individual release of Visions of 8 of this particular Olympics set, together with the various supplements that will be included in this new individual release in June, including what's described as being a new audio commentary and documentary, etc. So this is really wonderful because, as I say, we are getting an individual release from a film that was already included in this really big box set that was made a few years back. It is also in line with a similar type of release that was made, again, in I think very similar circumstances with regard to Tokyo Olympiad from last year. As some of you may know, that's a film that's also included in this set, and it was given its own individual release with its own set of supplements, etc. So this film release, Visions of 8, seems to be along that same category. And that's great too, because, as I say, it is a remarkable gathering or collection of these portraits from various filmmaker artists that are focusing in on specific aspects of the Olympics and looking at it through their own lenses and perspectives. So and this gathering, I think, provides some kind of representation of certain aspects, as I say, of the Olympic Games from 1972, the Munich Games, which, as some of you may know, are very famous or very infamous in terms of their place in history and what happened both within the games and outside of the games themselves, as some of you may know. In any event, we are getting this film, which is relevant to the games for the reasons that I cite. And it is, I think, an extraordinary portrait in those terms. And thus, it is great to see it in terms of this individual release. So it'll be fun to explore this when it arrives, and it'll be really, I think, exciting and engaging, hopefully, to try to compare it with the presentation as we saw it in the box set versus this individual release. In any event, we'll be getting this, which is Visions of 8, and indeed it has its own spine number, 1081, and it's going to be scheduled for release June 22nd, 2021. Next, scheduled for release June 29th, 2021, and given spine number 1083, and described as being from 2011, the year 2011, from filmmaker D. Reese. This is the film Pariah. Now, I have not seen this film Pariah, and so I am going to look forward to this one immensely. And anyone who has seen the film Pariah, and if you want to comment to me directly, please let me know what your thoughts are about this, because I'd love to hear about that. I do know the work by D. Reese, which is called Mudbound. I was very fortunate to have been able to catch up with that film fairly recently, and I remember at the time watching it. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to see it as many times as I would like, but upon the amount of times that I was able to watch it, I was so impressed, and I felt to be such a remarkable work, and so confident in terms of its artistic, in terms of its artistic motivations, and in terms of its voice. I thought it was truly remarkable. And from there, I normally, of course, would like, again, based on my own resources, would like to try to explore the other films of such filmmakers that maybe I discover or I hear about and I along the way. And so D. Reese's feature film was something that I wanted to catch up with, but I was never able to, again, due to my own limitations and my own lack of knowledge. And so, with this news from Criterion that we're getting this particular film, as I say, I understand it to be the feature film debut of this artist, Dee Reese. Wow, this is really this is going to help me along in my own cinema journey in a very exciting ways. And so I want to thank Criterion for this and this opportunity. Again, I don't know this film Pariah, and so when I see it, I will try to engage with it as much as possible and watch it as much as possible, and then explore the supplements here. And it looks like the supplements, according to the website, are plentiful indeed. So for anyone who knows this particular film, once again, if you know it and you've seen it and you want to comment to me about it, please let me know, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. Once again, this is from Dee Reese, from 2011, and it is scheduled for release on June 29th from Criterion at spine number 1083. This is the work Pariah. Last, but certainly not least, we have also scheduled for release on June 29th. This is described as being from 1953. The filmmaker is Samuel Fuller, and it is at spine number 224. This is the film, the masterpiece, which is called Pickup on South Street. This is one of those epic, classic, landmark, milestone film noir films. It's a milestone landmark work in the landmark career that is the icon Samuel Fuller. And there is so much excitement, there is so much shock and energy and a type of intrigue, if you will, and a real sense of danger, and the vivid portrayals of all of these aspects of cinema and human life are presented here in this ever engaging, so inventive, and one-of-a-kind, unbelievable work, as I say, from this one-of-a-kind, unbelievable filmmaker, Samuel Fuller. This is one of his I would say, it's one of his highly regarded works, I think, in a career that is filled with highly regarded works. So, Pickup on South Street. If you haven't seen this film yet, you're in for a real treat, I think. And so, you really are. This is really powerful, hard-boiled, exciting, volatile, fresh, inventive, like all of Samuel Fuller's works are. So this is really exciting stuff. It mentions the spine number of 224, 224. And just in case you may not be aware, that is due to the fact that it already exists in the Criterion collection as this relatively speaking, somewhat earlier released DVD. Again, it's spine number 224. It has this particular presentation, the line logo, etc. And indeed, according to the website, it seems that we're getting the DVD supplements also being carried over into what I understand will be this new Blu-ray release of this. Again, later this year in June. So when the actual Blu-ray arrives, hopefully that will afford us the opportunity to try to explore the two releases and do a comparative analysis, of course, right? In terms also of the Blu-ray release, which I understand is described as being new 4K digital restoration. So that's going to be something to look forward to in terms of the engagement with the film as well as the comparison. I like this release very much. It is an earlier, relatively speaking, earlier DVD release, I understand that. But for what it is and for what it was at the time of its release as well as what it is now, and the film itself, this is a really great one. And but it's great also to see Criterion release it in this particular fashion. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And I do understand that it was a film that was made available through, say, other means or other avenues or other labels. But in any event, we're getting this Blu-ray release of this. And among the other features that seem to be part of this new Blu-ray, we seem to be getting, for example, a new interview with the great Imogen Sarah Smith, the great film scholar and academic, and she always provides wonderful insights into various modes of cinema, such as classical Hollywood cinema or film noir, etc. So I anticipate her discussion here to be top-notch, as it always is. And so that is, I think, one of many reasons to be excited for this particular release, again scheduled for the end of June 2021. Pick up on South Street. There is slightly different cover art as well. If you want to check out the website, you can for the cover art. I think it looks really cool. The new cover art and the font type and use, and we still have the same consistency as far as the actual photos or images that are used, but maybe different uses of color background and font, etc. Very retro chic cool, for lack of a better phrase. So again, if you haven't seen this one, you are in for a real treat indeed. I'm very excited to get this when it arrives, hopefully in June, or maybe the tail end of June, or carrying over into the next month. But in any event, this is going to be a very exciting release indeed. Pick up on South Street. So, my dear friends, that is my general sense or my general impression of these particular announcement releases for June 2021. And I say also, as I said earlier, that I think for me, I'm always excited about the ones that I haven't seen. And so for me, we got Tiny, The Life of Erin Blackwell, and you've got the works, most of the works of Marlon Riggs in that set, and then Pariah. So this is, to me, this is going to be so exciting, and the potential of new discovery, and not just a new discovery, but then watching them again and again and again, and then watching the supplements. This is part of the fun of labels like Criterion. So, and in particular, Marlon Riggs, as I said, I haven't thought about this in such a long time, but now still thinking back on it, these memories are now flooding in. And I'm feeling quite overwhelmed. Something similar is happening with Streetwise too, in the sense that I'm now anticipating with such high degrees the nature of the film Tiny, The Life of Erin Blackwell. So much so I can't wait. I cannot wait for this. And also the same type of anticipation is what I'm feeling for Pariah. As I say, this feeling and impact that I felt when I watched the later work by Dee Reese is now filling me with this anticipation for this feature film debut from her. So Pariah is another one that I will look forward to immensely. And then the other films that are included here, we have, in essence, what seem to be re-releases or upgrades, however you want to describe it. A re-release in the sense in terms of the Olympics film, Visions of Eight, but it's getting its own standalone release with its set of supplements, and so that might provide even further potential exploration opportunities for that particular film. Also, as I say, there is the tie-in perhaps to the Olympic spirit of 2020-2021, although to be determined, as it were. I'll leave it at that. And we have the emergence or re-emergence of films like The Great Pick Up on South Street. And this is great, by the way. Absolutely great. Once again, if you haven't seen this, you're in for a real treat. And the return or re-emergence or re-establishment or reaffirmation of this cycle of films, The Human Condition, which, as I tried to indicate, is so overwhelmingly powerful and so emotional and very complex and difficult in terms of, as I say, the types of ambiguities that are being portrayed. And so this is hopefully going to provide more opportunity for as many people to explore these and discover these as possible. And I really hope that's the case, because they really deserve as much attention as possible. The Human Condition films, this cycle from Kobayashi. So I'm looking forward to this immensely. All right, my friends, so that's it as far as my initial reactions. What do you think of this? Are you excited? Are you not so excited? Whatever the case may be for you, my friends, I would love to hear what it is you have to say in the comments section below. So until we meet again, please be happy and healthy and well, And please keep on watching a lot of great, great movies. Thank you so much, as always, for your time. I very much appreciate it. Stay strong, stay safe, and cheers.